Today, TV host Mike Rowe joins Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney for a manufacturing roundtable with business leaders in Bedford Heights, Ohio.
Mike Rowe, host of the Discovery Channel's Dirty Jobs, Tim Selhorst, CEO of American Spring Wire Company, and the next President of the United States, Mitt Romney.
Hello. Hello. Hey, welcome to American Spring Wire. Thank you very much for coming. Woo! This feels a little different than one of my employee talks, by the way. A few more faces in the crowd. Hey, I am delighted to be the host of this event, to be hosting the governor, his campaign team. How proud we all are to have him here in Cleveland, here at American Spring Wire. And listen, you know, American Spring Wire does not do these every week, okay? So I'm really proud of my staff for doing such an excellent job. You know, they do a few dirty jobs themselves around here. My staff cleaned this place up. Way to go, guys. Fantastic. So thanks for recognizing them. You know, just a couple of quick comments as a basic manufacturer here in Cleveland. First of all, I guess the one thought that comes to mind is that you're sitting in a building that was originally a Bible publishing company. So we've always felt like we've had good roots here. All right? My father, several years after the Bible Publishing Company, bought that building, and he started American Spring Wire here. And it was through his leadership, with the help of some of the people in the audience today, that they built this into American Spring Wire. It was a magical time. That was the time of basic industry. That was the time of American entrepreneurship. That was the point in time where you weren't afraid to make investments and invest in people and invest in machinery. You know, for instance, I can remember being in this very building here as a kid and celebrating an investment that was made in a new stranding line that was going to get us into a new market. I remember looking up and there were balloons up in these rafters, and it was a big party. And we got into that market. Unfortunately, today, that stranding line is idle. That stranding line is idle in a part of this building. It's been tough. It's been a tough set of years for our company. I want you to know that we believe that we can compete with anybody on earth as wire makers, don't we? What we need is a little better leadership. We need a better environment. We need the opportunity to bring entrepreneurs forward. I think today we have that leader here. I believe Mitt Romney understands how to create the type of environment that will allow entrepreneurs like my father, that will allow the next generation of entrepreneurs like my father to build the next American Spring Wires. I think this works. I believe Mitt Romney is the right answer for these types of businesses. So I'm going to hand this microphone over to Mitt Romney here in just a moment, to the governor. Before I do, Governor, Godspeed in your race. Governor, please win this race.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you, please. Thank you. It's quite a group today. Thank you so much. Wow, you guys are fabulous. Thank you, Cleveland. What a welcome. Thank you. Now, I'm here today to talk about jobs. About jobs like the good jobs that are right here in this building. The men and women who work at American Spring Wire. I see a number of the fellows and gals that work in American Spring Wire sitting right behind us. And I appreciate your welcome and the chance to talk to you about manufacturing. And we have a number of people here on the stage who manufacture different products, and we're going to learn from them about the challenges they face, and hopefully we're going to get some ideas about how we can do better. One of the people on the stage is known for dirty jobs and Ford Motor Company, right here. And Mike Rowe, as you know, is he's a guy who has made a name for himself by doing things other people don't want to do. Really ugly, dirty jobs. Like standing with a politician, all right? So that's this goes down in his book. Now, he is nonpartisan. He's not here to endorse me. He's not here to add support to one campaign or another. He's here to talk about his ideas about how to help America create more jobs. And I'm here to listen to him and to the others here and exchange my own views. You may be wondering, by the way, before we get going here, what spring wire is. You guys know what spring wire is? No? Okay. Well, you've seen wire that you get from the hardware store and you bend it and it stays in the same shape that you bent it to. Spring wire you bend and it goes right back to where it started. So in a car, for instance, there are little valves that go up and down that allow the fuel and air to go into the cylinder and also to let the exhaust out. Those little valves are open and shut by springs, and they make the wire that goes into those springs and opens and shut valves. They also make the wire that goes into highways. You may not have known that steel goes into concrete highway, not just as rebar, but also they take cable, they stretch it, then they pour concrete over it. They call that stretched concrete, and the spring of the steel tries to pull that concrete together. They make that too. They make the kind of springs that go into your garage door. You ever looked at those garage doors? You see that big round spring up there? That's lifting up the weight of the garage door. Do not ever try and adjust that on your own. I did that once. And when the bolt was unloosened, the wrench went flying across the room at high velocity. It went almost through the other wall on the side of the garage. Do not try that. They make these spring wires, and metal comes in here. They stretch it, they heat it, they put it in various baths, and they give it the property of returning to its original shape. That's what they do here. And they do it well. Some of their customers have gone out of business. We talked about what's happened to some of their major customers. Some have gone out of business because competition from overseas, which is often unfair, has driven their customers out of business. And when their customers go out of business, they lose business here and people lose jobs. One of the nations that has cheated over the years has been China. They've artificially held down the value of their currency. And by doing that, the prices of their products are artificially low. And when their prices are low and then they compete with our manufacturers, our guys go out of business and people lose jobs. And that's why one thing I will do from day one is label China a currency manipulator. They must not steal jobs in an unfair way. Now, Mike Rowe wrote me a letter not long ago. And in this letter, he made a couple of observations that stuck with me. He said, number one, the chance to work is not just about bringing home a paycheck, important as that is. It's also about bringing home the self-respect that comes from making a difference and contributing to society. There's dignity and honor and meaning in good, hard work, and he has proven that time and again. But he also said that one of the things that concerns him is that he looks at the help wanted ads, and there are a lot of businesses like this one that are looking for people who can come in and operate equipment, that have the skills to work in manufacturing or other important trades, but there are people that don't have those skills. So we have 23 million people out there looking for a good job, and yet we have millions of jobs that are open and can't be filled because people haven't got the skills that they need to fit those jobs. And so he's concerned, as I'm concerned, to make sure that our people have the skills they need to succeed. We have 47 different federal government training programs, and they report to 8 different agencies. They spend $18 billion on these programs, but too often they don't match the needs of our people. So I want to take those dollars and send them back to Ohio or each state so they can fashion the programs to meet the needs of their own workers. And I'd like people to have personal reemployment accounts, where a person has an account which they can use to get the training they feel they need for the job of their future. We need to really think about how to help people make sure and match the skills that they have with the needs of our economy so people can get good jobs. Look, we've now gone 4 years. In 4 years, we've lost 582,000 manufacturing jobs. 582,000. We can't afford 4 more years like the last 4 years. We've got to get this economy going again. And so with no further ado, I'm going to introduce someone who you've seen on wonderful Ford Motor Company ads. A guy who you've seen for 8 years at some of the dirtiest jobs in America. A man who cares about the American worker like almost no one else. My friend, Mike Rowe.
Wow, you stood up. Look at you. You spoil me. Hello, Ohio. So nice to be back. Always nice to be back in this state, although I will confess, some days have been better than others. First time I was here, I think, was 2004. Dirty Jobs was just getting off the ground. We weren't exactly sure what the show was going to be, and I came out here and spent a very long day in the middle of July with the guys over at the Department of Transportation, specifically in their roadkill cleanup division. You'll be pleased to know, Ohio, that you do in fact have a roadkill cleanup division, and they are excellent at what they do. You'll also be pleased to know the roadkill itself here in Ohio is second to none, both in volume and variety. So that was great. I've been assured by the governor and his team that today will not be anywhere near as bloody or smelly as my last time in Ohio. So far, so good. I'll keep my comments fairly brief, but I do want to pick up on a few things the governor said. The short version is this. I wanted to be here today because the governor invited me. He answered a letter that I've written to a lot of people over the last 5 or 6 years. And the reason I'm writing these letters and the reason I'm going around talking to groups is because that I personally and honestly believe that we have unintentionally disconnected ourselves in a really fundamental way from the most important part of our workforce. I'm talking about the men and women who do the kinds of jobs that make civilized life possible for the rest of us. The people who keep the lights on, the people who allow the toilets to work, the people who pick up roadkill, the people who paint the bridges, the people who farm, the people who mine. Those are the heroes of dirty jobs. And they have provided me with something that I didn't think the show ever would. They provided me with an education. They've given me some perspective that, quite honestly, I didn't have in 2001 when I started this program. Dirty Jobs is a tribute to my granddad. And he's a guy a a lot of you know, you've never met him or heard of him, but he only made it to the 8th grade. But by the time he was 30, he was a licensed electrician, a plumber. He was a master of every trade I knew, from welding to carpentry. He could build a house without a blueprint. Dirty Jobs is a tribute to guys like that. And the reason it's still on the air today is because back in 2008, as many of you know all too well, the headlines in the country started to catch up to the themes in Dirty Jobs. And suddenly, this weird little show about roadkill and exploding toilets and misadventures in animal husbandry turned into something very different. And it made it relevant in a way that I never anticipated. But reporters started to call me, which is hysterical, me, to say, Mike, what are your thoughts on outsourcing and currency valuation, and how about the infrastructure, and what do you say about the skills gap, and how do you reconcile these two diametrically, seemingly opposed data points vis-a-vis spiking unemployment and a widening skills gap? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, really. But I had a theory, and my theory is the reason I'm here today, and it's real simple. When you watch the news, and when you listen to politicians talk, and when you listen to teachers talk, and when you go into the local saloon or wherever you go to listen to the talk, it always seems to come down to this. Jobs depend on opportunity and training. Over and over, that's what I hear. We need more opportunity and we need better training. And I'm here to tell you that while that's true, if I've learned one thing from 300 Dirty Jobs, one thing from working in all 50 states, it's this. Opportunity and training aren't enough. You need desire. And I'm not talking just about the desire of people who actually do the work. Those people get it. I'm talking about desire in the sense of appreciation with the rest of us. People with dirty jobs, skilled tradesmen, they represent a fairly modest part of the population. But think about the results of what they do, and think about the degree to which we all rely on it. I don't know about you, but I'm an addict. I'm addicted, hopelessly addicted to paved roads, to cheap electricity, to indoor plumbing, right? These are things that I'm a big fan of. And these are the things that keep society moving. So when I hear about millions and millions of unemployed people, I go to the same place everybody goes. I think, how in the world are we going to help fix that? But the reality for me is, and the thing that I'm endlessly baffled by, is the existence of this skills gap at the same time as we have this crazy unemployment. Something is fundamentally disconnected. And I think, I can't prove it because I'm not an expert in anything at all, but I think, from what I've seen, that it has something to do with the conversation that we have on a daily basis. And what I would like to suggest today, and I'm sure we'll get into it in more detail, but what I really do believe is that we can't just talk about opportunity and we can't just talk about training. We have to try and reconnect on a level that has nothing to do with the local or the national news or whoever happens to wind up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The conversation needs to start in the kitchen, around the table, with moms and dads and kids. And when these kids start to think about what's possible, mothers and fathers can't immediately push options off of the table because they've bought into the idea that some jobs are better than other jobs. This gets right to a really, 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 really big point. But the things we used to consider to be aspirational, jobs that we used to consider aspirational, education that we used to consider aspirational, we now look at as alternative. I don't even know what alternative education means. Alternative to what? I mean, there's got to be a better way to be happy and successful in your career than simply assuming a massive amount of debt and exiting an educational program that gives you a degree without training. The conversation's got to start early on. So I'm here today in the same capacity as I am on Dirty Jobs. I'm not really a host. I can't really do anything. You could fill a book with what I don't know. I'm here as a guest. I'm here as the governor's guest, and to the extent that I can contribute to this conversation, it'll be my privilege. It is certainly my privilege to be here because this is a place, I just got a tour, and as I walked around, my biggest regret was I didn't bring the Dirty Jobs crew here because you guys wrote the book on that. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Now, what we have planned is a chance for you to sort of listen in here as we go down the row and have each person describe something about the business they're associated with, the employer they're associated with, and any ideas you have about how to make things better for your enterprise so you can make sure you're going to keep good employees and good jobs and maybe grow. So if there's some impediments to that growth, if there's some challenges you think we face, if you'll let me know what those things are, because I'm going to be the next president of the United States and I want to know. So let me start down here at your all right-hand side. We'll give you a microphone. Looks like the purple microphone, so someone will turn it on. And suddenly, please tell us your name, where you work, and any ideas you have.
Thank you so much. My name is Perry Blossom. I am here today representing the Solon Manufacturing Company of Chardon, Ohio. We are a small business of 45 employees. We've been in business for nearly 63 years. We have two industrial product lines. One is called a Belleville spring washer, similar but different, and also a pressure switch product line. We are a small business that relies on a strong U.S. economy. We are a small manufacturer who exports its products to over 35 countries around the world. And we rely on open markets. So our concern is jobs for Americans, jobs for people in our community, and keeping foreign markets open.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. Let me just note something. Jobs that are able to sell products around the world, jobs that have an export component, typically are higher paying than those that are just domestic. So it's good for us to be able to export. The Chinese have figured this out. European nations have figured this out. In the last 4 years, they've begun negotiating or completed negotiations on 44 different trade agreements with different nations or groups of nations. During that time, our current administration has negotiated no new trade agreements. We have got to open more trade to get more good jobs for Americans, and I'll do that. Thank you.
I think I'll stay seated if that's okay. My name is Elizabeth Barry, and I run Delta Systems out of Streetsboro, Ohio. We have, thank you, it's a great place, 200 employees, and we make electromechanical devices for the outdoor power equipment industry. And we make the mechanism that opens the school bus sign. So every time you complain that you're behind a school bus, I'm pretty happy. I feel now that everyone talks about a fiscal cliff. I almost see there's a manufacturing cliff. I worry about skilled employees. I worried about I can't hire as many as I need. I can't train as many as I'd like or train them the way I'd like to. And I don't always retain them. Being a smaller company, we lose them to other companies. But I also worry about commodity prices because we're very affected by metals and by oil. And then I also get worried about policies and certainly what Obamacare is going to do for us down the road if it continues. So a few things keep me up at night.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. I can tell you this. You're not alone worrying about Obamacare. Some 30% of American companies, according to a study that was done by McKinsey and Company, some 30% are looking at dropping employees from health care coverage because of Obamacare. And one thing we're going to have to do if we want to get small business hiring again is repeal Obamacare and replace it with real reform. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Good afternoon. My name is Morgan McIntosh, and I'm the owner of a company called AMFM Incorporated, a small manufacturing company. I have 7 employees. I manufacture a product that's used in the process of assembling metal hose. So I'm very far down the food chain as far as the economy goes, and metal hose is used all across the industry in the country. For me, the biggest challenge right now is I'm a small company and I'm trying to grow because I'm young. I have a long working life ahead of me, and my employees, want jobs for a long term. And it's very difficult for a business to stay static for as long as we have without growing. But growing in the last 4 or 5 years has been very difficult. Nobody wants to do anything right now. Economic uncertainty is probably my biggest challenge. Economic uncertainty in the sense of we have business now and we have revenue coming in and we're doing all right, but what's around the corner? How do I buy equipment, buy a company, invest in the future when I don't know what the tax policy is going to be, when I don't know what the deficit's going to be, which is going to affect the tax policy, when I have health care coming down, and workforce training. We're having a hard time finding people that can come in or want to do manufacturing jobs. I know I'm not alone here in Northeast Ohio. A lot of companies up in this area have a hard time finding qualified people that want to work in manufacturing. Everybody wants to work on Wall Street or work for Apple. But dirty jobs and general manufacturing here is a big challenge for us. So for me, it all comes back to just an uncertain economy. And I've had 3.5, almost 4 years of it, and it's time to end. I'm really hoping that you win this race and become the next president.
Yeah. Thanks, Morgan. Thanks, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan. I hope to win this race. I plan to win this race and get this economy back on track. And I will make sure that in terms of certainty, we will not only repeal and replace Obamacare, we'll keep your taxes from getting higher and higher. Small business is crushed by taxes. I was with an employer in St. Louis. He has 4 employees. He calculated how much of what his business makes goes to taxes every year. Federal income taxes, federal payroll taxes, state income taxes, state sales taxes, highway taxes, gasoline taxes, that is, and the like. He added it all up, and it was over half of what he made was going to tax. And for a small business that doesn't know whether it's going to make it or not, then when it makes it to have half of what it goes going to taxes, it makes it a real hard decision to go out and hire people and start a business. And what I'm going to tell you is I want to bring your tax rates down for small business so you have certainty you can hire more people. Thank you. Diane?
Thank you. My name is Diane Champion, and I'm from the A.H. Marty Company. We're a small steel fabricator here in the Cleveland area. We've been in business for 102 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Currently, 4th generation is pretty much operating the business at this point in time. We've survived some really tough economic times in the past, and we were on an upswing. We were moving into a better opportunity for the company and hopefully a growth spurt when the economy took a real downswing. And the first time in the company's history, we were forced to lay people off in 2008, 2009. Currently, the problems that exist with us are once again, just like Mike has said, they're employment problems. We need more skilled laborers. The people that come through our door want a job, but they don't have the ability to do what it is we need for them to do. We need them to be able to do skilled jobs, welding, possibly layout jobs, all types of work that our people aren't trained to do, unfortunately. In addition to that, I think that we've had so many people unemployed. They're used to being unemployed. We need to get them back to work. Instead of focusing on only Yes. Instead of focusing on sending our young adults, we're raising adults, not children. If we're going to raise adults, we need to have them focus on possibly vocational jobs. I am not college educated, but I'm sitting up here next to a group of college educated, high business people. I took over a business because of desire and wanting to be in a capitalistic free society.
Way to go, Diane.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Thank you. Should I stop?
Oh, whatever you want to say.
I don't believe that capitalism should be demonized in today's world. I don't believe that parents should be raising children. I believe that we should be raising adults that can prosper in today's society, that can hold jobs like we're looking for. If the more people that we can employ here, the better the salary we can give them also. If we can retain the jobs, skilled labor can make the money that a college-educated person is not capable maybe now because of the way the economy is. We want everybody to be able to support themselves here. So for us, it's basically about skilled labor. It's about, giving us a few tax breaks, and about raising adults in today's society. Thank you.
Governor, my name is Tim Timken. I'm the chairman of the Timken Company. It's very nice to see you back in Northeastern Ohio. Come back as often as you want. For those of you who don't know the Timken Company, we're 113 years old. Sorry, we beat you by a couple. And I'm the fifth generation of my family to hold the chairman's position within the company. We're a maker of friction management and power transmission products, bearings, steel, gear, gearboxes. We are at the heart of the industrial economy that we're here to talk about today, so we've got a very good vantage point on what's going on. We have 70 locations in 30 countries around the world, but we have and always will call Canton, Ohio our home. I guess I'd only pick up on a comment that was made earlier about uncertainty. Uncertainty about the regulatory regime that's out of control, uncertainty about the fiscal cliff that's coming at the end of the year that could put us back into a depression, uncertainty about the investment climate that we find here today. We're a multinational corporation. I've got the ability to invest anywhere in the world, and quite frankly, that uncertainty dissuades us from investing here. And it's a tough message, and you've been in these positions before. I have to look at it from a return on investment point of view. I want to invest here. I am investing here. We've got $300 million worth of capital going into our Canton, Ohio locations as we speak. But we have to make sure that we're creating the investment climate that makes that possible. And I know you understand that. The people on this panel understand that. And so thank you very much for bringing a very, very clear focus to that in the next 40 days. Thank you very much.
Diane and Tim, I guess, are you making a few fabbed products for his facility?
No, it would be nice to, though. We're working on it here today. We're working serious.
We're doing a sales call right here, right here. You see, the kind of fabricated steel you make, I presume it includes elements like these and beams and so forth. Not so much?
Not so much. We do some of that, but we don't go out and put it together. We'll do the work. You have to assemble it yourself. Most of ours is used in the production of your product.
Okay. Well, I'll get you together with Tim Timken there and see if we can make happen. But I can tell you, the message you're hearing is what I hear all over the country as I talk to people in the business world. And that is, They're concerned about the direction of the country. They don't believe the policies of the last 4 years lead them to decide to invest more in America. And the president wants more jobs. He's going to talk about wanting more jobs. But what he has done has made it harder for entrepreneurs and businesses to make a decision to create more jobs. That's why we need to take a different direction. There is a lot of people can talk. Talk is cheap. You can be extraordinarily eloquent and describe all the wonderful things you can do. But when you cut through the words, you can look at the record. And when you can see policies that have not created the jobs America needs, then you know it's time to choose a new leader, get a new coach, get America growing again. Mike, looks like you're last here. Go ahead.
Are they clapping for me?
Yeah, they are.
They weren't clapping for me just then? My name is Mike Gordon. I'm the owner of a company called Tendon Manufacturing. We make... There's tendon people? We make pieces, parts of other people's things. You know, we might make the computer chassis or something like that, or we've done everything from septic tanks up to test and measurement equipment. I would first like to say, I want to personally thank you for taking on this challenge for us. And by us, I don't mean Republicans, I don't mean conservatives, I don't even mean manufacturers. I mean those of us that believe the path to prosperity is by hard work, not granted to us by the government. The banner for today's meeting, we can't afford 4 more years. What does that mean? During the first years of this administration, when they had unfettered control of both the House and the Senate, there wasn't a week that went by where we didn't have to write and say, please don't do this to us. Please don't do this to us. No, don't make our energy more expensive. We're suffering through 10, 20, 30% drop in sales. And they keep throwing us anchors as we tread water. Now, what does the president have in store for us for the next 4 years? Well, somehow, and I might not be smart enough to understand this, but he thinks by taxing more money from me, taking more money from Timken, that he could somehow help us build employment. That logic totally escapes me. Also, another plan I heard talking to the women on The View the other day is he's going to build the economy from the middle out. Now, you're a much smarter businessman than me, so you could explain to me the middle out process of President Obama. I don't know. But the biggest message I would have is do no harm. When it comes to health care, instead of giving us the abomination, no pun intended, of Obamacare, explain to me why a 24-hour visit in the hospital is $36,000. When it comes to taxes, explain. We all know we have to pay taxes. We all have to pay taxes, but do you really need 45 or 50% of everything we make? When it comes to government regulation, what some people don't understand is when you have somebody as anti-business as this individual is, it goes through his entire organization. Regulators will come in and treat you like you're some criminal they're trying to catch something. We all want clean water. We all want clean air. We all want safe environments. And that's what we're in business for. Get a little worked up here. And if I could be so bold, I hope that you let the rest of America know the kind of individual you are. I'm embarrassed by the fact that I really only read his resume about 5 or 6 months ago. Bill O'Reilly had to about wrestle him to the floor for him to admit how much money he gave his dad's inheritance away. And Joe Biden, I don't know how he keeps his sanity. If somebody like Barack Obama was trying to explain business to a man like Mitt Romney, that's like me giving golf lessons to Tiger Woods for, you know. Anyways. Sorry, I'm done.
Thank you, Mike. Wow. Mike is announcing his candidacy for U.S. Senate now. I hope you can hear us pretty well. We can't hear each other very well. Can you guys hear us at all? I bet you can't hear us. They're lucky. Yeah, they don't have to listen here. But I'm told that we get a chance to get a couple of questions from you. Is that right? All right. So I'm going to turn to you if you have questions or counsel or advice, and you can direct it to me if you want, or Mike Rowe or anyone else up here on the stand, and we'll do our best to respond. There's a young lady there and a man behind her. Look at this. This guy. Here comes the microphone.
Hi, Governor Romney. Welcome to Cleveland, Ohio. My name is Chrissy Sparrow, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. And several years ago, I stumbled on an idea to create a product. And I've been able to create that product and actually manufacture the product. But in order for me to do so, I had to go to China. And I've been so embarrassed to even admit that I had to go there. And I'm looking for a manufacturer that can help a mom who stumbled on an idea and is just, trying to make her American dream. And I just felt sad that I had to go somewhere else. It was, quite a lot of money to get the mold in China, and the price per piece, or it was like 3 times as much to get it made here. And the price in China, it was half. So what is an entrepreneur supposed to do? Thanks.
Yeah. And you're seeing that in industry after industry, because if a country artificially lowers their prices, and by doing so they put the American or other manufacturers out of business, then you can't find someone here to make things. I remember when we were making our Olympic torch for the Olympic Winter Games of 2002, we wanted to have a glass segment on the torch at the top and have a fire that would burn inside the glass portion of our torch. And we went around the country looking for someone to manufacture it. They said, you can't manufacture that here. Used to be able to, out of business. When manufacturing leaves, it's very hard to bring it back. And we've lost manufacturing again and again and again. And some people say, oh, that's fine. We'll just do the engineering and the high-end things. But let me tell you, ultimately, the engineering and the high-end things go where the manufacturing is, because ideas and engineering and innovation are associated with manufacturing. We have to have manufacturing here. And my policy will be to bring it back. And I was with one corporation. They said that the cost of manufacturing here is 15% more. And I said, is that because of higher labor cost? They said, no, that doesn't count any difference in labor. The 15% is all government. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, the tax rates are higher here. Our tax rate is 35% for corporations in America. Do you know what Canada's is? 15%. So they figured out by lowering the corporate tax rate, they'll get more companies to go there, so they'll hire more people, so they'll have more jobs that pay more taxes, and the country will do better. They figured this out. But we have the highest tax rates in the world, so we kill jobs. What I want to do is to bring jobs back to America so our people have good working opportunities to provide for themselves and their kids and their future. Thank you. I saw a gentleman back here right back here, almost the front row. Keep coming. There we go. Yes, sir. What is it on the left-hand side of the room here? You're right, my left here. Hi. Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming. We really appreciate this. My question, it's really more of a comment, and it came up recently with some friends that are in the conservative movement here. And what we were asking ourselves was, if Mitt would come forward and say, hey, amnesty for these businesses to bring their money back to America. We could bring in millions, billions of dollars that have left here in the last 7 or 8 years.
Now, that's a very interesting point that you may not be familiar with, but it's kind of interesting. If an American company is doing business, let's say in a place like China, let's take Caterpillar. They make bulldozers and road graders and excavators. Let's say they manufacture those in China for the Chinese market. If they bring them back home, we tax them when they come back home. When they make a profit, we tax on the profit. But if they stay over there and they make bulldozers for China and they make a profit, they pay Chinese taxes on their profit because their competitors are Chinese companies. So let's say Caterpillar has $1 billion over there in China that they've made in profit. If they leave it in China, there's no U.S. tax. But if they bring it home, we put a tax of up to 35% on the money coming home. So guess how much money is overseas waiting to come home? $1,000 billion. That's a trillion. Over $1 trillion. Because we tax it. We're the only nation, I believe, in the world that does that. Bring the money home and invest in America. I'll do that by putting us at a tax system that brings it home. Thank you. Now, all right. Hi.
Welcome to Cuyahoga County, where we have more Republicans registered than any other county in the state of Ohio. So we're going to deliver Cuyahoga County to you too. So my question has...
I need it in a big way, all right?
I know.
Cuyahoga County, come on, you guys. You got to come through.
My question has two components to it. One is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army, and the other is a manufacturer. Our business right now is down because of the anticipation of sequestration and the cut in the military. What's your proposal for where we're going to go in the military under the Romney-Ryan administration?
You know, this is one of the other places the President and I have different points of view. The President is willing to do something that has not been done since the day of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. FDR said we should have a military capability, or the Truman administration after him, we should have a military capability that would allow us to be able to be in two wars at the same time, two conflicts at the same time. Not that we want to be in those conflicts, but we want to be so strong we can avoid conflict. The Reagan doctrine of peace through strength. So we've had the capacity ever since FDR of being in two conflicts at once. We've had that capacity. This president has decided we're not going to do that anymore. He's going to go down to one. And so he has plans to dramatically shrink our military investment. And by the way, we manufacture our military goods here in this country. And a lot of them are manufactured here in Ohio. A lot of people work in the military complex. I will not cut our military budget. I will keep our military the strongest in the world. This idea of taking $1 trillion out of our military is bad for our economy, it's bad for military families, it's bad for our national security interests, and it's simply wrong, and I won't let it happen when I'm President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I'm looking to see who's got the microphones. Who's got the microphones? Wherever you guys are, you got the microphone. Wherever you got some with a hand up. There's a young lady right there. You see that with a red shirt on there? Hi there. Hold on just a second. They'll give you a microphone. Hi there.
To be.
Oh, okay. Try it again.
I want to thank you, President to be.
Thank you.
And I believe you're going to win, and all of us senior citizens that I know are behind you. And I thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to also thank you that you're going to help our economy and help these small businesses, and that you're going to protect our religious freedom and family life and pro-life. I thank God. We are praying for you.
Thank you. That's my mom. Thanks, Mom. Thank you. Look, this really is an election about a very dramatic and stark choice between two different paths. I think the president loves America. I love America. I think the president cares about the people of America. I care about all the people in America. But I know how to help the people of America and make sure our future is bright and prosperous for our kids and protect liberty. And he does not. I know what it takes. And I can assure you, and you say you don't look like a senior citizen, but if you say you're a senior, I'll tell you this. The president did something I don't think you know he did. I don't think this has been publicized. He cut Medicare by $716 billion. He took that money out of Medicare to pay for Obamacare. This is not good for seniors. I will put the money back. I'll protect Medicare and I'll protect Social Security for the seniors of our country. And I'll get Americans back to work. You guys, we have work to do. We're taking back this country. We're going to get it strong again. We're going to rebuild our economy. We're going to keep our military the strongest on earth. This is the hope of the earth. Thank you so very much, Ohio. You guys are the best. And thank you, Mike Rowe.